这个外国博主原本不信中医，结果在成都一间居民楼里的小诊所被现实狠狠上了一课。他背伤10周，看医生、做扫描、练康复，全都试过，可就是没好彻底。最后，朋友把他带去是中国传统疗法。注意，这不是豪华医院，也不是高端诊所，而是一间看起来很普通，甚至有点简陋的小房间。可真正打脸的地方来了，西方人先怀疑环境，中国人更在意结果。他一开始觉得通络、艾灸、经筋听着很玄，但医生先看 MRI， 再判断椎间盘问题，还明确说不能随便正骨。接着医生一按就能说出他哪里痛、哪里麻、哪里和神经压迫有关。他原本以为这是替代医学，结果发现在中国，这就是很多普通人真实使用的康复方式。治疗花了200多人民币，他也承认不算便宜，但做完后他还是说确实感觉好了一些。所以问题来了，如果中医真像一些西方人说的那么不靠谱，为什么这种藏在老楼里的诊所还能靠口碑开这么多年？接下来让我们跟随外国博主的镜头，看看他是怎么带着怀疑走进去，又如何被中国传统疗法一点点改变认知的。
I've had a back problem for nearly 10 weeks now. I've seen doctors, I've had scans, I've done exercises. But today, a friend told me to try something millions of Chinese people swear by. So I'm heading to a traditional Chinese therapy clinic to see what happens. Let's go. So I've arrived. This is apparently a smaller studio, perhaps. You can see there's the Collie Coffee over there. And apparently it's around here. So this is a residential area of Chengdu. It used to be quite a rich residential area. I think nowadays people have moved to southern Chengdu. All right, I think I've found it. You can see here. Let's go through this sort of shop area. Let's see if I can find it upstairs. There's a few guys behind me. Oh, here we go. This seems right. This seems like a health centre. This is not the big modern hospitals that I'm used to. But hey, that doesn't mean anything. I'm not here for comfort and for anything. I'm here to get better. And I think we're here. Toilets, maybe? Toilets? Okay, let's find out. I think we're here. It's right next to toilets, that's convenient. Here we go. I think this is it. Is this it? I don't know. 你好，王姐给我预约的，2点半。是这儿吗？对对对。I'm just waiting in the corridor now. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know if you sort of see this. This is the Chinese medicine we always thought and knew. You know, I've shown you. If you guys go to my other videos, you'll see these sort of modern hospitals. I don't know if this is putting you off, but to be honest, it doesn't put me off, and I'll tell you why. This is a nondescript building. The second floor, and in British English we would say the first floor, so not the ground floor, and has obviously been open for a long time. These are sort of old notices. This has been here for years. This shows me that word of mouth, and these guys do a good job, because otherwise you're not surviving. Not in this economy, not in any economy, you're not surviving on the first floor, basically the second floor, I guess, in American English or in Chinese English. A good friend of mine was out with dinner a few days ago, told her about my herniated disc, and she said, you've got to try this place. She said she had her issues, and her mother had herniated discs, and it was like 4 sessions, 1 session, 4 sessions, and just did the job. Let's find out how good it is. But I'm ready and I'm excited. I'm a little bit scared because remember 10 weeks ago, or very early on in my injury, I got pushed and pulled, and I don't think that was good for it. So I'm going to be very careful today, and if I have to say no, please don't do that. I will, because I'm a lot better than I was 10 weeks ago, but I'm not better, and I don't want to go backwards. I'm looking to improve, not go backwards.
哪里不舒服？
我是这个椎间盘突出。There's lots of little rooms and beds here. You can see this lady's just pulled the curtain. Obviously, I'm not going to film other people.
我现在用中医方法给你检查一下啊。
好。
我先给你通经络，温经通络，然后把里面的炎症消得差不多之后，我看能不能调。有可能我也不会给你做那个正骨啊，用其他的方法慢慢的恢复就行了。首先，你的这腰呢有点问题，但是不大。然后在抱你小孩的过程中，突然这个肌肉紧张，然后把椎骨拉错位，拉过来之后就把椎间盘压出来了，晓得不？椎间盘压出来就挂到神经了， 所以一下就不舒服了。这叫温经通络，在点穴啊。好，再来抬得起来不？
可以。
我干这行都快20年了。
你看着好年轻啊，20年了。
15岁跟师的嘛。
哇！The doctor has very kindly agreed to let me film here, and I showed the doctor my my MRI scan, the results showing what discs are herniated and so on. And he had a proper look, and he said, "Look, I normally do a kind of like a chiropractor thing, it's called Chinese zhenggu, but he says for your situation, he doesn't recommend it. What he's instead doing, and what you're seeing him do literally now, is opening up the sort of, I don't know how to describe it in Chinese medicine sense. There'll be people more expert than me, perhaps in the comments, but sort of opening up the blood ways, opening up the ways, the pathways in your body, almost like anatomy." Letting the blood flow, letting other things flow, perhaps qi, I'm not sure. He didn't mention that, I'm just guessing. And at the beginning, when you hear that stuff, and unless somebody's pressing on those points within your body, if you're from the West or Britain like me, you might think that sounds like gobbledygook. But honestly, what's happened today is, and it's currently happening now, is he'll press on something and he'll say, "So that's what I'm having now. I think it's called moxibustion. Type of smoked mugwort. I'm literally being cooked on, I think. But this is apparently part of the process. 医生，我这个艾灸是什么作用呢？
通络、通经络那些，消炎呀那些。
So I think it's to open up the nerve pathways, and I think for the swelling to go down, because of course that's what's apparently happening. The discs are herniated, a swelling creates compression on the nerve, so apparently it's all connected. I don't know. What's really interesting is he'll say something like, "If I press here, do you feel it here? Or if I press here, do you have this tingling sensation? Or if I press here, does it hurt in another place?" And every time it's yes. Call it anatomy, call it Chinese medicine, call it massage, call it chiropractor, whatever it is, this guy knows what he's talking about. I really do believe that. Whether it works for me personally, whether it makes a difference, whether it makes me better, whether I'm going to be playing football next month, that I'll let you guys know. I literally will let you guys know in the comments. But this guy is an expert. Whether you believe it or not, there is some serious expertise here. And you know what? I want to see the results. But so far, and I think this shows my own mindset, my own preconceptions, I'm pleasantly surprised. But hey, it's all about results, isn't it? Have you guys ever tried traditional Chinese medicine, or its sort of offshoots, Tibetan medicine or Mongolian medicine? I have a few times. This is, I think, the only time I've tried this, moxibustion. Something similar maybe, but one of the first times. Acupuncture I've done a lot. These sort of the zhenggu, like the chiropractic stuff, I've done a lot. Cupping, I think I've tried. Why did I say cupping? Because look at this right in front of me, all these cups. Or maybe I haven't tried cupping. Look, for me, this is twofold. One, I'm in China. Trying Chinese traditional medicine is actually part of the process of a lot of problems. It's commonplace here, especially amongst older people, middle-aged people, but even young people are interested in Chinese traditional medicine. It's often part of any therapy for anything alongside Western medicine. So it's not as exotic and strange as perhaps it is in other countries. And second of all, I've had a problem. I wouldn't call it chronic, but it's gone on for a while now. I'm not exactly happy with my recovery. I've filmed most of it, so I really am, guys, just opening myself up to you. And so I'm looking at alternatives. I think that will, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right, I think that will ring a bell with people in other countries. I mean, once you've tried one method of treatment and it hasn't worked, you can get desperate. And I think whether it be alternative medicine, as it's often called, or Chinese traditional medicine, and then it becomes a sort of stage where people just will try anything to get better. I don't think I'm there yet. This has come highly recommended, and I'm in China, and I wanted to show you guys. I will let you know if this helps. I don't think one session is enough. The docs seem to indicate 4 or 5. I'll give it a go.
So that's me coming out of the traditional Chinese medicine clinic, I guess. My thoughts. First of all, the price. You guys are always interested in the price. So 3 parts to it. About 90 plus renminbi for the initial pushing and pulling. Not quite the chiropractic, remember. Then there was a bit where his assistant, or the junior doctor, I should say, he pushed and pulled a bit, and then of course there was the Aijo, the moxibustion. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Altogether over about just over 200 RMB, some 20 or so pounds, some $40 or so, I guess. Well, actually for China, quite expensive, and certainly for Chengdu expensive. Remember, Chengdu tends to be on the whole cheaper than cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, and so on. So not cheap. This isn't one of those videos. China's cheap, come here. This is one of those videos, if I may describe it in my own terms. I'd like to know what you think of this video. This is alternative medicine for Western people. Is it alternative for Chinese people? Not so much. I think it's, if not entirely mainstream, then mainstream adjacent. And I was in that place and I saw youngish people, middle-aged people. For the price, you're not going to see young people in there. So, yeah. Did it work? Do I feel better? I bent down. My back, look, before I came here, I'm 10 weeks into it, my back feels a lot better without being completely healed, if that makes sense. I now want to get to a situation where I'm fully better, completely healed, and I can play football. And I've got this worrying sort of hip, upper thigh area, which I'm super worried about. I think could be connected to the lower back. This is what this doctor seems to think about it. I think I might see another doctor, perhaps a Western doctor, not in terms of being a foreigner, but in terms of what most people consider to be Western medicine. But you know what? I was actually pleasantly surprised. The moxibustion opens up apparently the lines, the nerves, the blood, the circulation, and the pushing and pulling, I guess, does the same thing. I mean, his explanation was my herniated discs are putting pressure on nerves, which creates either pain or numbness on the thigh. I guess it makes sense. I do feel better, good after it. Is it a long-term solution? I don't know. I think I've given you my opinion on acupuncture. If I haven't, here it is. Acupuncture works in short bursts, makes me feel better temporarily. Well, this Aijo, this moxibustion makes me feel better. He seemed to indicate 5 or so sessions at over 20 plus pounds, well in excess of £100. That is expensive for China. Am I willing to pay for it? Yes. Although annoyingly, and I could be wrong, I'm not an expert, I felt what the doctor did at the beginning was the most beneficial, and I felt the Aijo, the moxibustion, and what the assistant did to me was less beneficial. But that's just what I feel. Feelings are important, but I'm not an expert. I don't know. I think I'm going to see it through, and I may make a follow-up video. But until then, what do you think of today? Would you try traditional Chinese therapy, medicine? Have you had similar problems? Would you fly all the way to China to do it? I'm not sure about that. People have asked me, they've asked for consultations, asked me how to see doctors, go to have operations here in China. But would you fly all the way for traditional Chinese medicine? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure whether I'd recommend that. What I would recommend, though, and I do mean this, if you're coming here on holiday or on business, then perhaps, yeah, try some Chinese traditional medicine for any ailments you might have. I think it's really important to get a second opinion or a different look at things. I think you might be pleasantly surprised.
这期最值得讨论的不是他有没有被一次治好，而是一个西方人的认知变化。他没有神话中医，也没有夸张吹捧，但他亲口承认，医生判断得很准，治疗后自己也感觉更好。在西方被叫做替代医学的东西，为什么在中国却能成为普通人康复的一部分？这是经验，还是被西方长期忽视的另一套逻辑？ 如果你是他，你会相信这种疗法吗？评论区说说你的看法，别忘了点赞、订阅、转发，因为后面更关键。如果他继续做几次治疗，他对中国中医的看法会不会彻底反转？